Hi everyone, thank you very much for stopping by and returning to the old world. Today, as it's Orctober, let's talk about orcs and their diminutive greenskin cousins, the goblins, in Warhammer, the old world. What has happened? When Games Workshop released the concept art originally for Warhammer Old World, we saw art for 3 different factions. We saw the Bretonnians, we saw the Tomb Kings, but we also saw an orc boar boy. Since then, we've not had lots of useful news about Warhammer the Old World, if we're being honest, and of that limited focus, a lot of that has been centred on the Bretonnians. We've seen a couple of new character models, we've seen some maps, and we've also got the promise of some new models for the Knights on Foot. Understanding seems to be there's going to be kits re-released which will include the old Knights of the Realm that were available during 8th edition. Outside of that, we've seen a tiny bit of information regarding the Tomb Kings. We've seen part of the model. There's been some map work, but not an awful lot. But for the Greenskins, we've not really seen anything. Now, these guys are the only, air quotes, football hooligans that anyone really likes. And as I said, they're the comedy element, really. But also, because they're all over the Warhammer world, and they'll happily fight anyone, including each other. To be honest, an orc who gets bored enough will probably punch itself in the face just for some entertainment. This does mean they are perfect, providing a realistic, if you want to bring realism into anything, opponent for anybody. Any faction can fight orcs credibly with a narrative purpose, including other orcs. In fact, it could be the same warband fighting itself. Anything is possible. And also, when you look at the traditional range of models and the types of units that were included on the roster, actually it was a really diverse list, which means that an Orc and Goblin army can be played in so many different ways. You want lots of cavalry? Fantastic, you can do that. You've got Orc boar boys, you've got savage Orc boar boys, you've got wolf riders, spider riders, chariots, snotling pump wagons. Want to go for a line of war machines, orcs that maybe think that they're dwarves or have spent so long fighting them. You've got rock lobbers, spear chuckers, you've got goblin doom divers, a huge range of different things. That's before we even get into the regular infantry, where you've got orcs, savage orcs, black orcs, goblins, night goblins. If you look back into the midst of time, forest goblins, you've got giant spiders, you've got trolls. There's so much variety, so many different ways of playing the army. You can never get dull. There's always something to explore with them, a different way of playing and some new models to paint, whatever you might want to do. By the end of 8th edition and the end times, Orcs also had quite a interesting collection of figures available in their range. Although I have to say, interesting, it doesn't always mean good. There were some really great dynamic sculpts. The regular Orc boar boys really stand out here. I think they were cracking models. But you also had some moulds, some figures which were getting a little bit tired. They've been around quite a long time. The standard Orc boys, I think, fall within that category, for example. And I think they did struggle, even in 8th edition, they struggled a bit for looking good. Personally, I wasn't a great fan of the direction of travel for Black Orcs, but that's an aesthetic choice thing rather than looking at a range that's got tired. Obviously, the Black Orcs are now a staple for the Ironjaws in Age of Sigmar. Having said that, I've not seen a range of Orcs from another mainstream manufacturer which have really excited me or get me thinking, yes, you have captured the spirit of an Orc in the way that the Games Workshop models do. Now, that may well be, of course, because I grew up with the Games Workshop concept of an orc rather than the Tolkien or other fantasy tradition around them. So there's other things that people can delve into when designing an orc, but I don't think, as I say, anyone's really captured the spirit of them in the way that Games Workshop have. However, that isn't the same for goblins. The market for goblins does seem to be a little bit more crowded and a lot more competitive when you look at the offerings of Wargames Atlantic, for example, or Mantic Games. The relatively new released goblins there look absolutely fantastic, and I wouldn't be averse to getting some of those if I were to start a Greenskin army. So all of this really brings us back round to the original question posed for this video, which is, what's happened to them? Have they dropped off the list? Are they flying under the radar somewhere? Are they army number 3? I really hope that when we start to see an uplift of news, that we get some more information around things that aren't just Bretonnians. We get a bit of a better understanding of the direction of travel. Given the information we've got, I think it's fairly certain Bretonnians are going to be early doors, the faction coming out, and the heavy rumours has all been around Tomb Kings being the other faction. But I'd like to see the Greenskins make an appearance in the not too far distant future once everything else starts coming out as well. Only time will tell, but the best we can do for now is hope. All that remains for me to say is thank you very much for listening. If you've enjoyed this video and perhaps other videos in the back catalogue, do consider dropping a subscribe. It's a good way of keeping track of the regular videos and special one-off videos that get released. Once again, thank you very much for listening. I am returned to the old world. Have a great day.